What do you do if you filed your asylum case years ago and nothing has happened since then? Yes, you got the receipt notice, you filed for a work permit, you got the work permit, you have a driver's license, you're working, you're living in America, but it doesn't look like anything's happening. Hi, my name is Mohammad Saleem. I'm an attorney practicing immigration law in New York and throughout the United States. And I'm here in Orlando, Florida for a immigration lawyers conference by AILA, which is the American Immigration Lawyers Association. And funny enough, the Uber I took here, as I'm going to this conference, the person who was the driver was like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just a immigration lawyers conference." And he's like, "Hey, are you an immigration lawyer?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do practice immigration law." And he's like, "I want to talk to you about my asylum case." So he told me his story, which I want to share because I think there's some things in it that people don't realize. And he didn't realize how there's other ways for him to get a green card. So people file an asylum case in America when they come from a country where they're afraid to go back to because of political circumstances, sometimes religious circumstances. But generally speaking, it's based on persecution. And I've won a couple of asylum cases recently, and the bar is pretty high for you to establish that you're afraid to go back. So he came from Venezuela. He's afraid to go back, due to a political situation there that he encountered. He filed his asylum case 7 years ago. Can you believe that? He's been here. He filed his case 7 years ago in Florida, and nothing has happened since then other than just him getting a work permit, driver's license. He's an Uber driver. He's had two children that are United States citizens here now. He has another child that is, was born in Venezuela, came with his family, and is part of his asylum case. But that child just got married to a United States citizen. And the son's wife, the son's just turning 21, is in the process of sponsoring him. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So he's sharing all this information. I was like, hey, I'm not going to give you legal advice, but you should talk to your lawyer about the possibility of how, when your son, who gets sponsored by his U.S. citizen wife and gets a green card and then applies for citizenship later on, can sponsor you later. So this is something many people don't realize this. Just because you have an asylum case doesn't mean you have to necessarily continue the asylum case. In his case scenario, he filed this case 7 years ago for asylum. His son, who's an adult now, is going to be sponsored by, the citizen wife. The son's going to get a green card. Granted, might be a conditional green card or, whatever it is, even if it's a 10-year green card. After that son, who's married to a U.S. citizen for 2 years and 9 months, that son can apply for U.S. citizenship. Why is that important? Because when the son becomes a U.S. citizen, the son can then afterwards sponsor his mother and father who are in the United States. As long as they entered with inspection, which they did, they came on a visa, the son can then basically file a petition and do what's known as adjustment of status. And that's really beneficial to somebody like him because he said to me, he's like, well, I have a very strong asylum case. And I was like, oh, I'm sure you do, but why risk the possibility that you might lose the case? Because if you lose your asylum case, then, that's bad news. You've got to basically appeal it, and that's a very lengthy process. Otherwise you're going to have an order of removal, a final order of removal against you. And also, why go through a route that's very tough in America right now? An asylum in America, for the last 5-6 years has been very difficult. And I'll tell you why using his example. So, let's say even if he wins tomorrow, his asylum case, the Venezuelan Uber driver, well, he can't apply for a green card. He has to wait for 1 year. And what happens is that, after that 1 year, he applies for the green card. He doesn't get the highest priority. He may wait another 3, 4 years after that. So we're talking like almost 5 years now, maybe 4 years now, or 3 years now after he wins his case for him to get a green card. And that's really lengthy. And I'm not even talking about scenarios and cases where, I just did a case for a mandamus lawsuit for a Syrian client of mine who had won asylum through Catholic Charities, and then Catholic Charities had basically filed an adjustment of status, and it took over 3 years, for anything to happen on his case. And he came to me, and he was like, "I'm tired," and we filed a mandamus lawsuit, and that helped him get an interview. So, again, there's such a long road for people who have filed asylum in America. And I want to share this video, and I hope that people listen and watch, because if you're stuck with your asylum case and been waiting somebody like 7 years for him, and I have clients who've actually been waiting longer, and some of them are fine with it. Because they don't have any other options. But somebody like him might have some other options to adjust and change his status. I do want you to consider those options, because that might be the best option for you. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate it.